there is no oily smudge from
Right.
anybody else touching it. So all you have is just a complete wipe down, complete clean, and then put the powder on it, and then have someone standing to the side filming everything at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
And one person sitting in the car in control of it, putting it in neutral, and that way they can apply the brake if need be if anything weird starts happening.
Right. But yeah, it was a very interesting night because, like I said, it was my daughter and a couple of her friends, and I took them out there in the car, and it's like, wow, they never seen that, and I was like, well, because my daughter was just old enough to drive, so I told her, I said, you sit in the car, and we'll do it again, and it did it again. So it was cool. She was like freaking out. It's like, oh, but yeah, but she's actually taking criminal psychology in college, so it'll be interesting when she gets done with that.
She would be someone that might have access to be able to run fingerprints then.
Maybe.
Yep.
So,
especially if her professor has ties with any of the law enforcement.
right. Yeah, because she's going down to Northwestern right now.
So when you guys were at the Farrar Elementary School, what was the most active area of the school?
Oh, that was the boiler room.
The boiler
The
room?
boiler room was probably the most active. That's where I actually provoked.
Yeah, well, that and that one room, the closer you got to it, the more I got a sense of that it was like evil, bad feeling. You know, it was very eerie, and it's like you don't go in that room.
Which room was that?
It was like the boiler room had 2 or 3 little rooms off the side, and there was just this one room that had 4 walls and nothing else in it. And it was very small, like maybe 6 by 9, you know, like a cell.
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing in it. And man, it was just the presence there was so strong.
Wow.
But Dale Kazmarek had what was that called again? I keep forgetting.
It's a program that you can put on a laptop and you hook an exterior speaker to it, and it's kind of like the voice boxes, where it scans frequencies for your Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth and all that, to where it'll scan the frequencies to pick up sounds and voices.
The white noise.
It back. No, it's not white noise. There are actual voices that come through.
There was quite a few that night.
I'm trying to remember what it's actually called.
Was it like a plasma box or something?
Phasma box. I think that's what it was called, Phasma box. And it uses the Wi-Fi and everything on the device, the laptop, and it scans the spectrum, and then the sounds come through the speaker. You can hear what sounds like voices speaking.
Wow.
And there was one really angry, you could tell, one really angry male voice that did not want us there.
Well, that's probably because that's the one that got pissed whenever I provoked.
And then, not to mention the gym, Dale was going down into the gym, and he was doing his little video bit of the history of the school, and 3 of us were upstairs just getting our equipment ready. There was somebody from Dale's team and Mark and I, and we all saw the ball move behind him.
Yep, the basketball that was on the floor behind him
just moved.
Started rolling. It rolled a couple of inches by itself.
Nobody was near to kick it or move it. No wind, nothing.
Yeah. And of course, none of us had our damn equipment. None of us had our cameras out. Because it was right after we got there. Dale and one of his crew, they did a Facebook Live for Dale to be able to kind of explain what the school, about the school, and give a little history of it. And they're in the gym at the time, and I actually was like, "Hey, catch that ball! It's rolling!" And I don't know if he actually panned down or not, but that would have been cool.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a cool catch on a live stream.
Yeah, it would have been a real cool class.
We were at a house in Chillicothe, and we were in the basement, and we had a cat ball sitting on a chair, and we were all filming. Everybody got the cameras and everything just set up, and Mark was telling it, move the ball, move the ball. And I was standing about 3 foot from the chair, and I literally watched this ball roll off the chair.
Yeah, that's so.
And right when it rolled off the chair, or about rolled off the chair, the internet where we were at just went
He dropped.
out. And it was like, wow.
You know, it's weird how things work. You know, if they don't want you to connect, if they don't want you to catch stuff, you ain't gonna. They don't want you to record it, you ain't gonna get it. You know, it's like what was it? The mill, Grafton, the mill.
Yep.
I walked downstairs. I walked downstairs from the third floor. We walked downstairs. It was just Tom and I, and we were walking down, and all of a sudden, one light on a circuit of 3. Okay, all three of them should come on. One light just flashed at us about the time we got to it. We had no cameras, nothing to record it with. I was glad that there was someone else that saw it, other than just me. Or they would have thought I was crazy because they already think I'm insane as it is. But it's when you don't have that equipment there, that's when you tend to catch the stuff sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I was telling somebody before, until you've actually seen it yourself and seen things happen, you always got those disbelievers.
Well, you always get the disbelievers, but man, we did everything to try to get that light to flicker again, like that, like tapped on the wall and tapped on the cord, the metal thing. Did every test we could. Nothing.
Hi, Virgil.
What I did afterwards, though, is Mark and I decided we're going to start. We went out and got body cams after that. So that when we're on an investigation, now everything gets recorded.
Where exactly is this house at, Mark? This Stanford house?
Don't know.
We'll have to ask Lisa about that. Hey.
But we've seen some pretty weird shit happen in the few years that we've been doing this. But I tend to believe because of what I saw back in 1995. Back in 95, I was diagnosed with AML leukemia.
Mm.
Now here's where the kicker comes in. I was so far gone, and the disease was so far gone, there was no way they said, nah, you ain't gonna live to Christmas. Anyway, I flatlined and died about 5 or 6 times. And one of those times I had the out of body experience where I actually saw my mom in the waiting room. She was freaking out, crying, and at the time she had like a bad heart and stuff. So they were giving her a shot because her heart started racing so bad to calm her down. So they were giving her a shot to calm her down. And then I remember being above my body and seeing them use the paddles on me. And meantime, my brother's like, you can't go, I can't lose you. And my stepdad's there, they're all there. And I remember everything they were saying. But I was watching it at the same time.
So like an out-of-body experience.
It was an out-of-body experience. It's the only way I can explain it. And ever since then, I got an open mind on a lot of things, and it sure did open my eyes to a lot of stuff.
You need to write that location down, Mark. We need to go check that out.
Which one?
It said
in Stafford, Illinois.
Yeah,
Oh,
over here by us.
I'm all over it. I got the phone number, address. I got it all already up here.
Yeah, that's one of those places. I've heard so many places, things about so many different places down there in Illinois. Because we know Dale Kismerick, and then there's another gentleman I know that's down there that told me a lot of different things about a lot of stories. And yeah, we got stuff on our bucket list to get to down there yet.
Manlius, Illinois is a really interesting place since the whole town sits on limestone and water.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to start. One of the things I want to do is, if possible, I want to go out there to where the St. Valentine's Massacre happened.
Mm-hmm. Down there in Chicago.
Yep. You know, I've always been fascinated by the mafia history. So
Al Capone used to come to my location in Galesburg quite a bit when, all that was going on in the Prohibition time.
Well, yeah, there was a bar in Madison that he used to go to too, right across from the Coliseum. It was called the Wonder Bar. I don't know if that's what it was called back then, but they've got pictures and everything up in there of him being in there and stuff.
When I was younger, it was strange because I lived on a house on Locust Street here in Galesburg, and I get this call from Colorado, and never didn't notice the number, so I picked it up and I started talking, and she's like, "Are you related to so and so?" And I'm like, "Not that I know of." And well, it was Molly Ellis because my last name's Ellis. And she said, if you go out on your front porch and look south, there's a brick house down the street. And I was like, okay. And I look out and I was like, okay, is this the address? And she goes, yeah. She goes, that's where Molly Ellis used to live. And it was like 4 doors down. I could see it from my front porch at the time. And she says she married the guy that was second in command of the Untouchables. And I was like, wow. And I said, because I really didn't know my great-grandfather's brothers and sisters. I knew of my great-grandfather. I met him when I was younger. But I never knew who all his brothers and sisters was. So I couldn't exactly verify it. And I gave her my address, and she sent me a picture. And I know I gave it to my mom and dad because I circled the picture of the person she was talking about. And it looked just like my great uncle.
Oh.
And it was like weird. And I know I gave it to my mom and dad, and they said they don't know where they put it, but it was crazy. I wish I still had that picture, though.
Well, that's also one of those things that's fascinated me, too. You ever see a picture, somebody show you a picture, or they see a picture, it's like from the Old West or something, say, but it looks like exactly like somebody or somebody, and it's freaky, and it makes people wonder, is there time travelers?
I've been coming across people on the internet like that.
Or was there somebody else, was it like one of that person's that they look like their past life?
Mm-hmm.
Or,
yeah. I've come across some pictures of the internet, and like I said, you got to sit there and kind of dig through the weeds and see if it's hoax or not. But there's some similarities of some things that you just can't explain. It's like, well, they look similar, but they're not.
Yeah, I've seen some old pictures that were like not on the internet. They were actual photographs from my, grandpa's younger days around the Greenbush neighborhood and stuff. And it's like, there was some amazing pictures. And it's like, it can't be this person because they weren't born yet, but yet it looks like them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like either it's one hell of a family resemblance because my family is very huge.
Mm-hmm.
On the one side, or I think it's like either somebody maybe it was that guy's past life, you know, because it was just too uncanny,
Right.
you know, and it was a real photograph, so it couldn't have been, you know, especially from my, you know, early days for, you know, and you can't fake that stuff.
Right.
It's
I've
not like
seen
it's not like digital cameras where you can fake the photograph, put it on a computer, you know, digitally
I've
edit and print it out a new one.
yeah, I've seen some pictures from my mom's side of the family because it's huge. That some people seem like they skip generations and look the same.
Yeah,
You know, and it's crazy. It's like, you know, my uncle would look like one of my distant cousins, and then it's like,
well,
wow.
I went to school. I remember being in the 5th grade. Yeah, I think it was the 5th grade. I was going to school one day, and all of a sudden the teacher started getting in trouble for something, and it's like I don't know what you're talking about. She says, "I know it was you." I says, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." Next thing I know, I'm walking around, and here's a guy looks just he could be my identical twin, right? I
Mhm.
walked up to him and I looked at him and I'm going, holy fuck. And he's like, holy fuck. And he's like, who are you? And I told him, I said, my name. And I said, who are you? And he says, his name was Kurt. Same last name, though. We
Huh.
had the same last name. He was a cousin, like a third or fourth cousin, but he looked just like me,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
you know. And
Yeah.
So I've got a
Mark.
few. I got a couple things on my bucket list. I definitely want to go out to Gettysburg, and I want to go to my grandpa's grave out in Lexington. So I'm a descendant of Robert E. Lee.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's got to be cool.
Yeah. Well, it all depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah, well, you know, it's history.
I
To me,
know.
to me, it's cool because it's part of history. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't matter what side they were on. You know, I'm
But
not.
yeah.
History is something. History is something that every country has.
Well,
And you,
I'm sick of them tearing down our history and taking away from us.
And
Yeah.
just like
You
the
know,
Parkville Insane Asylum, that was a beautiful building and
Mhm.
where we're from. But I have to say, man, you look like Willie Nelson. Not to be
no.
mean.
Should
He
I,
does. All he
should I
has
show?
is a
Should I
great
show her?
song.
Should I show her?
Yeah, you should show her.
Yeah, sure, do it.
Okay, let's see if I
He
This
showed
is
us-
crazy.
He showed us this previously before the show. Uncanny.
I had to say it. I was like, oh my God. Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Charles Manson's doppelganger right there.
Oh, I was gonna say doppelganger. Oh God. Well, forget Willie Nelson, I guess.
Ride a horse, save a cowboy. Instead of a horse, ride a cowboy. There you
Oh, he's got it on his screensaver thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
go.
That's
Save
pretty
a horse,
interesting.
ride a cowboy. Love that song.
Heck, we've been at one of Mark's concerts, and one of Mark's fans come up and asked if I lived somewhere else, and they could have swore I lived there in the same place, and I looked just like the person they were talking about. And I'm like, have no clue to who you are.
I just said, is he as ornery as me?
Yeah.
What I always say.
Mm,
Someone says
Yeah.
that to me.
Well, they do say that everybody has at least 5 doppelgangers in the world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
I,
already
mine
one.
almost got me arrested.
well, that'd have been Charles Manson, wouldn't
No, I,
it?
They would have freaked out and ran. Thought it was
I was working security at a railroad plant, and that luckily for me, I had an alibi that was foolproof. But one day I'm sitting there after I got off like a 12-hour shift, and these guys come knocking on my door, and it was FBI. My neighbors turned me in because they thought they saw me on Crime Stoppers from a video, and I
Wow.
thought I robbed
Oh
the
my
bank
God, that's cool.
Wow.
that was just down the street. And it's like, man, when that bank was robbed, I was over there. You got proof? I said, yeah, check the log books. And I'm a
Wow.
supervisor over there. You know, I answered the door, full uniform, and at that time it included sergeant stripes. I worked
Right.
for the oldest law enforcement outfit in the world at that time. I was a Pinkerton.
Oh, there you go.
So,
Wow.
you know, I held up, you know, no, I didn't do it, officers. Not me. You got the wrong guy. Can anybody verify you were there? Yeah. Thank God second shift was still working, you know.
Right.
Has there ever been a location either one of you has been to that when you've got there, it's just like, no, I can't do this because it's just so heavy, or something's there that's just doesn't want you there?
Well, it's hard for me to say that because it doesn't matter if it feels heavy or something doesn't want me there. I'm going to stay there. I'm stubborn like that.
Well, maybe that's it. We should
Yeah,
just take
me
that
and Mark
as
are
a
the
call.
same way when it comes to that.
Yeah, we really haven't seen that yet, you know.
No.
It's always an interesting question to ask because you just want to see how other teams deal with certain things when they come onto a scene, you know, and how they deal with it.
Oh, believe me, Joe. I've been known to be like Mark and get in there, and I provoked the hell out of some of these spirits.
Oh, he does too.
Yeah,
And
he
I-
did it that
I
one
just
night.
hope my good karma keeps it away from me when he provokes it, and it all bites him in the ass. You know, when he provokes shit.
It ain't going to bite me, though.
Well, it's like the night we were up at Melanie's house, and the little girl's the spirit that was bothering that little girl. Mark provoked it that night.
Yep. I said, you don't want that little girl. I says, come on, mother effer. Take me. Come into me. Come into me. Yeah, and it did. And took Sean a little while to get it out.
It knocked Mark backwards. It coming that strong.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jeez.
But the good news is, since we got rid of that thing, Melanie's daughter, her health has improved greatly.
Good.
You know, it was affecting this little girl.
That's the time we closed a couple portals there as well.
Oh my God.
Our table dancer last night, Mark. Oh yeah. You know, they might have a little more fun for what I left there, but we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah. So, I mean, Barb's had a couple episodes with spirits.
You know, you guys, they're always like, go to the basement. I go by myself. I don't care. They're like, wait, don't go by yourself. I'm like, no, bye. So, yeah.
What's going to bother you?
It just, I don't, yeah, it's just like, I don't have fear. I mean, I take it.
You know, there's two things that people have and will exhibit. It's either fight or flight.
Yeah.
I don't have the flight. I've seen too much crap.
Yep.
I've been through too
well,
much crap.
I've had too much shit.
I don't have the flight.
I don't have
I will
it.
stand my ground.
I don't have the flight either because
Right.
I've been through too much shit. I've been dead once already. You know, I've survived more than you can imagine as it is. You know, oh, if I can bounce this back, if I can bounce back this fast after what happened Friday, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, you didn't bounce back too fast with that job you just did.
Huh? Yeah, well, yeah, fucking.
Yeah, Joe, Barb, Joe's the one that had the microstroke.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But he's doing great.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
Fight. No, I see color apparitions. I see shadow figures. I've even talked to them. If they make themselves known, I tell people about them.
Mhm.
Fun
Uh,
time.
Joe, when you had that out of body experience, what else did you actually see? I mean, did you see anything besides yourself and what was around? Did you see anything?
Yeah, I mean, it was almost like everything was in detail. I mean, it was kind of hard when I was in the emergency room where you could see those lights that they have over you,
Mm-hmm.
in the emergency room. But after I got past that, my brother there, that I could see the doctors using the paddle. But I ventured out into the waiting room, and that's where I saw them treating my mom,
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
and knew that there was something going on. And when I came to, and Dwayne, my brother, was still there talking to me and stuff, because he didn't want me to leave and stuff. He's like, I looked and I says, "How is mom?" She says, "What do you mean, mom's fine?" I said, "No, don't lie. I know what happened, you know." And he's like, "She's doing fine, but they had to give her a shot because her heart was racing so fast. She had heart problems and stuff." And so, because I was the oldest and what was happening, she was panicking and having one of these attacks that they had to give her a shot, almost like a Valium, something to calm her down, you know, so that she could get calmed down and her heart would slow down.
Hmm.
And they were saying, Dwayne was trying to protect me by telling me that she was fine and nothing was happening, but I knew better. I saw it. And
Mhm.
sure enough, he eventually confessed. Yeah, he gave her a shot and she's doing fine now. You know,
Yeah. I just got a message from one of our teammates, Tammy Christian, that says, I'm asking for some huge healing for my brother in law. He has an aggressive cancerous brain tumor.
oh no.
The doctors are pretty sure it's been brought on by the COVID-19 shot and booster he got.
Hmm.
wow.
I was gonna say it's gone now, but you had orange around you, Sean.
Hmm.
Your aura. I was like, that's always kind of looking.
You do have an orange aura.
Yes. And it went away and now it's back again.
That's cool. Just like somebody took a crayon and drew orange around you.
I can't see it from my side, but okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Wait till you see the replay.
Because the guardian's sitting here laying on the floor behind me, so he's not jumping up and down on the chair like he was a little while ago.
Right. So,
Yeah.
what's coming up in the future for the Insane Asylum podcast?
Not so sure yet. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, we've been slowed down now until I fully
Right.
recuperate some more.
Right.
I do have plans. I'm going to be on one more show. I'm not sure when. Talking about cryptids and judging them. But I'll post that on our Facebook page when that happens, and I got the date. We had a location coming up that we were going to too soon. I can't remember. Wife's not sitting across from me anymore to help me answer the questions. But I got plans. I'm not going to sit at home. I'm going to do some traveling.
Well, that's how you do it.
Whether Mark goes with me or not, that's up to him because I'm not going. He works a lot. I don't work, so. And Mark is like a supervisor type dude, so his schedule gets very unpredictable.
I am a DCM, distribution center manager.
So
I am constantly on call.
yeah.
Oh, I work with guys like you. I'm a safety manager specialist. They bring us in to
Hey guys.
make sure their safety managers are doing their
Hey,
job.
Michelle, what's up?
Not much.
See, I moved my room around.
But I got plans at least to go to Bray Road again. I'm not
Yep.
done with Bray Road.
Okay.
We spent too much time there and end up with more questions than answers.
I had
we're
3
not done,
so
we're
I'm
not
kind of
done with the Bray Road yet.
Yeah.
So that's one place we'll be going back to. I'm pretty sure we'll be part of the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference again this year. I'm just waiting
Hey
for
Lucinda.
information on that. When it gets colder, we'll be going back to having guests all the time. But I plan on investigating anyways. I got a few places in mind. I'm coming you guys' way this year at least. A couple of places. I'm going to probably team up with Dale and make a thing so we can go to the Joliet prison.
That'd be cool.
I've been there many times.
Well, it's on my bucket list.
I mean, I was there when it was in operation. I was a sergeant at Stateville Prison.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was on the Orange Crush TAC team, and we'd go to Joliet and do shakedowns all the time.
Wow. So yeah, there's plenty on the bucket list. I'm not going to let this slow me down too much, but I know we're not done with Bray Road yet.
Yep.
There's too much there. It really is. If anybody knows about the Skinwalker Ranch,
Oh, I want to go there so bad.
you know what? Just come to Wisconsin. We got our own here.
Really?
Yeah.
Hook up with us. We'll take you out to Bray Road.
Oh,
We went there just expecting this. The Beast of Bray Road was. We got to thank Linda Godfrey for that because she's the one that brought it to light for everybody and called it Beast of Bray Road. You know, God rest her soul. She just passed away this year too, or yeah, wasn't it last year? Anyway.
It was recent.
Yeah. Anyway, she made it famous, but what everybody didn't come to realize, if you look deeper into it, it's more like the Skinwalker Ranch. There is so much activity that has nothing to do with the Dog Man. I mean, there was stuff there that we saw orbs, we saw.
I actually caught an orb on camera.
And then we saw the bipedal figure that we still don't know what it is for sure. And then the fog that came in and chased us out that night. And there were so many things that it was caught on this guy's trail cam, like UFOs to different cryptid looking figures.
Yeah.
That thing, I think that thing you saw, that one picture you won't like up, I think that's a portal. That purple haze.
Which picture are you talking about, Joe?
The one with the purple haze. I think that's more of a portal because the way it was positioned when we saw it.
You're talking about the one I have? Or that they
The
have?
one he won't come up off of.
Oh, that? No, the one he. No. The one he won't come off of is not a portal. I know exactly what it is.
Well, there's portals there.
There are, but I know what it is, and I know why he won't come off of it, and I don't blame him. It's definitive proof.
Yeah, there's a lot of strange stuff going on that property.
Yeah, the guy's name is Lee Hample. He owns 34 acres of land, and it's not on Bray Road. It's on one of the other roads that run off of Bray. He grows hay out there, and we got to talk with him and do an investigation out there. We had a lot of fun.
So what has he seen? Anything? Has he seen anything himself?
He's got about 200,000 different photos from about 7 different trail cams that he's put up on his property.
Wow.
And he gave us a few of them, and they're really interesting.
Check out our video on hunting the beast, or
Okay.
hunt for the beast, or whatever. Tanya's got a T-shirt. What do we call that? It was a hunting for the beast. Anyway, it's something like that. Title like that. It was all the footage edited down into about, what was it, 2 hours? What did it come to finally? Do you remember, Mark?
I think it's just over 2 hours, like a couple minutes over, but it was. Our first time out there, we basically interviewed Lee and talked with him, and that was about an 8 hour. That was about 8 hours of footage on camera, and then the second time out there, Dale, because Merritt came with us, and we did a night investigation, and we were there from sundown until about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and that's when this heavy mist came in, and it came in fast. It came in with a vengeance.
Fast and thick.
It was wet. It wasn't a dry mist. It was wet.
So we had
so that kind of pushed us to get our equipment picked up so we don't get it, so it didn't get damaged.
Because that stuff isn't cheap, as you know.
As we're picking up our last parts of our equipment to get it to the car, all of a sudden the mist was gone.
And just prior to that, though, all right. Prior to that mist rolling in, though, you can hear Dale and I on camera talking about the bipedal figure in the cornfield. As we lost track of it, we were like, "Where did it go? Where did it go?" And he's like, "We think it followed Mark." We think, we're saying we think it followed Mark because Mark was walking down the hayfield alongside the cornfield, talking to whatever was in that cornfield, because he said he didn't hear him at the time. This is what Mark told us when he got back. He said he heard it following him, so he started talking to it, trying to get it to show itself. And you could hear that on his video and stuff in there. It was one of the most interesting evenings times we have ever had out there to date.
Mark's got one of those earphones, or what do you call that? Parabolic.
I got one of those up there. Yep.
And we used that in the Galesburg investigation, and Mark's picked up some pretty good stuff with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we got one of those.
Is yours set up to where you can hook it to a voice recorder, Mark?
Yes. I got some Velcro and taped on the handle on the top, and I put a Zoom H1 on there, and it runs directly into that.
Yep, and then you can record everything that's coming through.
Yep.
Yeah. I did the same thing with ours, where I've got 2 voice recorders that can hook it up to the voice recorder and actually hook it up to the headphones, so you can have a headphone
Virgil,
to hear
it's
what's going on
insane,
too.
What was that?
Virgil was saying, sorry to the guy with the hat. Can't read his name here in Manchester, England.
Oh.
Hope you are all well, buddy. I just said your name.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what he called me on there. And thanks. Oh. It took us a while to come up with that name, too.
Insane, Joe.
It just made sense because of the way our chemistry
He's just crazy.
Mark and I, we took I'll tell you a quick story. My dog died that I had. It was a family dog that my niece called me after I moved into my house here. She called me about a year, not even a year, a couple months later. She's like, "Oh, Joe, can you take Nitro?" And Nitro was purebred, Siberian Husky. And I said, "Yep, no problem." I already knew I was going to have a problem because I was already alpha male ever since he was a puppy. So was 2 years. A lot of TLC, got him barking again and stuff. And the next thing I know, he just up and died that quick.
Wow.
I believe somebody was poisoned him because they were afraid of him. And I'll show you why.
That's sad.
Yeah, I believe the same thing. I believe that somebody in his neighborhood poisoned him.
That was Nitro,
Aww.
okay? Sitting on my lap.
Aw.
He was 9 years old at that time.
Oh,
And he was my best friend. Okay? I'm disabled. My wife works, so he kept me company.
Oh, that's
So
so
when he
sad.
passed away, I was heartbroken. My wife saw that, and she got a hold of this husky kennel. 3.5 hour drive. Oh, didn't have to do it myself. Mark volunteered to play chauffeur. 'Cause I was at a cookout at his house. He was cooking out or something at his place or something, or eating pizza or something that he made. And so he offered to drive. So we go up there and we drive 3.5 hours the whole time. Mark and I sitting in the front seat, my wife and his girlfriend in the back seat, and we got them in stitches laughing. And so they told us, well, we should start a podcast. You guys should start a podcast and stuff.
No, they said we need to put cameras in the car
Yeah.
when we're driving so we can record all this.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and we tried to do the comedy thing at first. Well, that didn't work because, you know, it's better to be spontaneous and then to write or can't do it. It didn't work.
I guess you could say I'm more of an ad lib.
Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, we couldn't come up with the stuff on the fly. It just naturally happened. So that kind of thing didn't work. And then we were pissing people off. We got a negative YouTube subscriber rating. And then we decided to do the paranormal, and we've been getting better and more following, and you know. And
Well, I got history with it too. So.
And it's been a lot of fun ever since then too. I've had more fun doing this than we were pissing people off.
Some people off.
We were. I kid you not. All we had to do was start talking politics and religion.
Oh God, yeah, that's fighting words there.
People didn't want to hear our views. You know, my mother-in-law, before she passed away and before she became my mother-in-law, I spent the night at her house, and it was Sunday morning. She looked at me. She said, "You want to go to church with us?" I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but if I go to church with you, you will believe in spontaneous combustion." She laughed. And when I knew she laughed, I knew we were going to get along after that, you know, because she had a sense of humor. But, you know, I'm not religious. I don't believe in going to church. So I stepped foot in the church. It's either for a wedding or a funeral. That's it, you know. But, yeah, I didn't, we pissed people off. I didn't like it. I lost a few friends because of my views. Well, it happened. Then they didn't like the fact that I smoked pot. Well, too bad. You didn't walk a mile in my shoes. You can't judge me.
Exactly.
But Mark suggested the paranormal. We got together. I've always been fascinated by the paranormal, and it's been a fun ride. I mean, we were part of the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference last year, where we presented for the first time our Beasts of Bray Road footage with Lee Hampel as our guest, and we broadcasted live from the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference. That was the biggest event we had last year.
That's cool. Yeah.
Really cool.
And the first year, before COVID hit, because we started in 2019, just before COVID. We got a few investigations in. We won an award in 2020. Let me see when this is. Everything's on the other side. 2020, we won the award for best podcast in our category.
Cool. That's
With-
awesome, guys.
For the Wisconsin Podcast Association.
That's awesome.
So we did made the right move. And I tell you, all the people we've met in the paranormal realm that we've actually met in person have been nothing but fantastic to us. I mean, we were out doing what was it? Witches of Whitewater? Is that what it was, Mark? Witches of Whitewater?
Yep.
You got that right? Okay. We were investigating the Witches of Whitewater. It includes like 3 cemeteries in Whitewater and stuff. There's a big story behind it. But while we were there, we saw these big fancy trucks and stuff. And it was, what were they called? U.S. Paranormal Team or something like that? Was it? Something like that. They had a big truck,
Yeah.
handmade equipment.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the name.
They had the guy from Chamber of Commerce there with them. And they were doing a documentary on it. They came up and they gave us all kinds of pointers, and because we were so new at it, and they were giving us pointers and advice and talking to us, and really nice. And everybody we've met like that has been pretty nice.
Yeah, if you guys get down here by where we're at, I'd come up with you guys. I'm sure Mark would too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been a pleasure meeting all these great people, you know, in person. I mean, Dale Kazmarek, I mean, we couldn't ask for a better mentor. You know, a guy that's been doing this and founded
Since the 70s.
Society since 1975. You know, come on.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't ask for a better guy. You know. And then we got the T. Kulos out of Milwaukee. You know, really nice guy. You know. And I tell you, it's been fantastic. And I hope it never ends.
Yeah, I've been on this team for just a little over a year now, and I've met people from all around the world doing these podcasts.
Yeah, we've done that too. Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of great people that's in this field, you know.
We had
Mm-hmm.
what was his name? I gotta get his book. This guy. The author of this book.
You got to lower it down just a little bit.
Ken Gerhard.
Ben Gerhard, Ken Gerhard.
Ken Gerhard. We had him on our podcast. He's the guy you'll see on TV with a metal skull in a cowboy hat. When he comes talking about cryptids on any of those paranormal shows you see on Travel Channel and stuff, they'll always go for Ken Gerhard when they're talking about cryptids.
That's cool.
So, and he was a really nice guy, you know, and probably one of the most famous we ever had on our show.
No,
Yeah.
Virgil, I'd actually like to go over there and do some investigations.
You know, Dale Kazmarek is still another famous guy because he's always on shows when talking about celebrity, all the plane crashes and stuff
Mhm.
about the Civil War. They consider him an expert, those networks do.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd actually like to go over to Britain too and do some investigations with some of the old buildings there.
We did interview a couple of ladies from over in England area,
couple of times.
and they have a lot of areas over there, a lot of places over there that are just so
Well-
historical and so full of energies that it just. I think it'd be amazing to go over there.
Another place I'd like to go is like Ireland because I'm Irish and I've got history over there. I'd like to go over there where the Celtics were. That'd be very interesting too.
Yeah.
So one of the things maybe you guys could do with this, and I'm still trying to find out who owns the property right now. It's a big field off of O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Back in 1979, it was the worst aviation disaster ever. Flight 191 took off.
I bet I can find out. I bet I can find out more.
Because there's a trailer park right there next to that field. And a lot of people in that trailer park have said that sometimes you look out their windows and you can see full apparitions of people walking out in that field.
The guy we just mentioned, Dale Kaczmarek, did a whole thing on that.
Yeah.
I bet he's got access to that property.
Well,
he's investigated it at least twice that I know of.
Yep, I bet he's got access to that property.
Yeah.
And he's been wanting me to come out to his place to see some of his Civil War memorabilia.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been on our show more than anybody.
Yeah.
You know, he and we also did Buddy Holly crash site. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. Oh, that was just so surreal. You know, getting out to that actual crash site. It was unbelievable.
Did you guys get any EVPs or anything from
that?
that?
We did. We did an EVP session, and it was really interesting because the guy, what was his name? Mikey was part of Dale Kaczmarek's team. Was doing the playing of the song and the thing, and it's like, can you tell us who's playing this? And he'd play like, you know, like La Bamba or something, and they'd say Richie. You'd hear the word Richie. It's clear as day. Or the Bopper, or Buddy.
And that was coming through Dale's Phasma box.
Yep.
That would be interesting to hear that.
The funny thing about that whole mess.
Oh, we haven't got that up. I haven't got that one up yet.
The coolest, I guess it's kind of cool. The thing about that whole time that we were there, for Joe's videotaping, Dale and Mikey were videotaping. I had my voice recorder going. My girlfriend had a voice recorder on her, which was one of mine, and it, for some reason, didn't record, but mine did. Out of all the devices that did record audio, mine was the only one that picked up what sounded like a single prop plane in the distance.
Wow. And it wasn't there. Nobody remembers hearing or seeing a plane that day. You know.
Yeah,
I actually seen the movie of that. I don't know how close it was, but that whole story was an interesting thing.
Hi, Lori.
But it was so cool. I mean, I'm a big music fan, so it was just an honor to be out there. You know.
That's awesome.
You know, to actually say I was at the crash site where Buddy Holly, you know, the day the music died. You know.
Yeah, that, like I said, I've seen stories about that, you know, and I always thought it was really interesting on the whole thing. And then, you know, to actually hear you guys say you got EVPs from that's really cool.
Yeah, and when we realized about the ghost thing, it was afterwards when that about the ghost plane. It's like, wow. I mean, even Dale was like amazed, you know, because he didn't capture anything like that ever before, and he'd been out there before.
Well, yeah, but also on the other devices that was recording, none of them caught it. Mine was the only one that exhibited that.
And then, you know, and if it was real plane, all of them would have caught it.
Yeah, it should have been on all three or all four devices.
And all the cameras that were going.
But,
you know, But that was a really cool place to go to, and I got to go back again because it's just kind of fascinating to be there. I think any investigation, good investigator, you know, you don't just investigate one place once,
Mhm.
you know, because if you might not get nothing the first time, but maybe the second or third time you go out there, you might get something really interesting.
Mhm.
You never know. The stories are there for a reason,
That's right.
you know.
Mhm.
So when you guys go out and investigate, what's your favorite piece of equipment to use?
Myself, because everything else has a tendency of batteries dying, not
Mhm.
recording,
Mhm.
not capturing. Me, if I can get myself in tune properly, I have I have a better way of sensing and seeing. And then if I feel something in an area, then I can point the camera in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah, I rely on my instincts first. You know, I have, you know, you gotta realize I was in, like a law enforcement type field for quite a while. And I developed, kind of a sixth sense over time. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I rely on my gut first and the senses, you know, watching my eyes and my hearing, you know, I'll hear things that some people won't hear. It's like, wait for it. You'll hear it. It's coming. You know, oh, there it is. You know, but I'll hear it before other people do. You know, so I rely on a lot of things because I did that for so long as an investigator and a security officer. And I became a good judge of people and a good judge of character that when we talk to witnesses, I'm kind of like a human lie detector. I can tell when they're trying to feed me full of bullshit.
Yep, bullshit
Mm.
detector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad was a big bullshit artist his whole
Just
life.
fine.
You know, that helped too. But, you know, after a while, you know, when you're talking to people like I did when I was doing what I was doing for a living, you tend to develop, you know, that thing about people. I can tell if somebody is worth my time within 5 seconds.
Yep.
You know, and sometimes even before I meet them, I see them coming walking towards me or something, and I want to smack the shit out of that
Oh
fucker.
yeah.
You
Mhm.
know,
I can see it in
right.
their eyes. Their
Yeah,
body language and their eyes if they're idiots.
right. So I just rely on my own instincts and gut first. You know, as I'm walking along a place, but I like using the camera a lot, but EVPs in special areas are a must because there's just some things that can't be explained, and you know, and I won't go anywhere. And I don't like doing our investigations anymore without one of us wearing a body cam or both of us wearing our body cams because of all the shit we've got seen but never recorded.
Oh, that's what happens to us. Or either like they'll shut off our recordings, the
Oh yeah,
spirit, or like we're getting ready and stuff to start recording and something will happen and we'll miss it.
didn't that happen at one of the houses, one of the private homes, where the camera got shut off?
Yep. And then there was one in
Mark,
Chillicothe. We actually had the ball. They actually pushed the ball off the chair and the reception was crappy. Then all of a sudden, when we went back, it didn't do it. It just froze. We're like, oh, son of a.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we had that up at the Baraboo, up in Baraboo.
yeah, my cousin's house.
His cousin's house. I took my camera upstairs to the attic area. When you go up the stairs, at the top of the stairs, to the left is all the room, and then to the right is like an attic door. thing.
Mhm.
You go through, and then it's all unfinished in there, and it goes all the way back. And then there's a ladder you can go up and look at the very, very top of the area that's over the other rooms that go to the left. So I took my tripod and my camera up there, and I have a nice long cord, so I could plug the camera in. So I had it plugged in, and I hit the record button. His cousin watched me. She was there with me. She watched me hit the record button. I go back downstairs. We're using the other camera. We're doing our investigation down there. We got thermal cams. We got that camera. I've got my thermal camera. I'm in the room. I'm doing some sweeps with it. His wife's behind me with their camera recording, and we're doing stuff. And he's in the other room talking to his cousin.
Yeah, I was talking to her and listening to her stories.
Right. It gets to the point where it's about time for us to go home. So I'm like, okay, I got to go up and get my camera. So I go up with my voice recorder. I go upstairs to get my camera, and because what I was going to do is I was literally going to do an EVP before I shut the camera off and see if I can get anything to come out and say anything or show up on the camera or any of that.
Mhm.
I go up. I start the EVP as soon as I get to the top of the stairs. I open the door. I'm starting to talk. I stop in mid-sentence because I'm looking at the camera, and the camera was not recording. It was off.
Ugh.
It didn't record anything.
Wow.
But we were at this place called Big Cat's Eatery, and my son, he's a cameraman now, junior investigator, and we got done everything. Our SD cards were wiped, plug in by the mic, and it got unplugged. The camera got unplugged, everything. I mean, they messed with everything. I'm like, oh man,
Yep. If they don't want you to record, you ain't
they
getting
don't
it.
let you.
It ain't happening. But now the interesting thing back about that house, though, there were when we were there, their neighbor, one of their neighbors, came up and wanted us to investigate their house because they said it was haunted activity. But the thing we come to realize, if you look back on the history, it wasn't the houses; it was the land that they were sitting on. That land was where all the houses way back when, the greatest show on earth,
Ringling Brothers
Barnum Valley Circus. All the freaks were housed there
Huh.
way back when.
Wow.
All the freaks were housed there, as they were called back then, and a lot of violence occurred during a lot of times.
So would they stay there like during the off season when they're not
Yes.
performing?
Yes, because the circus, Ringling Brothers and Barnum Valley Circus owned a lot of that up there.
Oh yeah, they go through all towns too.
They owned a lot of that land in Baraboo at the time.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, how do you say it? The attractions they had in the circus back then.
Well, they got picked on, whatever, disrespected, mistreated, and that bad juju is going to stay there.
Right.
Yep.
Some of them were housed together. You could tell because some of those houses were probably still there, that are there now, that were there back then.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of the items that were found were from that era. There was stuff from the circus itself that we found, that she found in her attic. And there were other items that were dated to that period. Where the circus would have still had freak shows.
What's the most interesting thing that she found that you guys found interesting from that?
There were some newspapers that she found that were dated back in the
Yeah.
that era.
Yeah.
And I think she actually found a map showing the property itself.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, but the age of the stuff dated back to the time when the freak shows were a popular thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, they always seem to have some really strange attractions back in the day. If I remember some of the things that I've read and seen.
well,
They
yeah,
had some very interesting ones.
and think about the extent that they went to do some of those things. Look at what do they call it? The Fuji mermaid or whatever, where it's like half fish and half monkey body sewn
Mhm.
together, and he passed it off as a mermaid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, come on, he did some pretty weird shit, and then just some of the people and the abuse that they took because they weren't socially accepted. They didn't fit into the norm.
Mhm.
Well, too bad for you. They got a heart too. They got they're a person just like you and me. You got to treat them with respect, but they didn't. So that bad juju is left on the land
Mm-hmm.
because there was such. I believe there was an atrocity that happened there that was mass covered up by the circus itself.
Good possibility. A lot of abuse of the animals back then. That tends to leave us a mark on things.
True.
So,
But it's also interesting to find out the truth, though, and trace it back and find out actually what happened.
yeah, it's not going to be easy, but it would be nice to find out the truth. Because literally, the guy came up and he literally was scared.
Mm-hmm.
He said, it bothers me. Sometimes I don't even sleep at night, because of some of the things that happen.
Have you guys actually ran across any Indian land that had any of these issues going as well?
Ashland State Park.
Aswan State Park was the only one that we've ever really gotten any kind of activity at. The second time we went out there, we actually walked the trail, took us down by the river and on one end, and then came back up the other one. And the
That's
trail
where
coming back,
you've been followed by some kind of shadow.
that's the one I seen the shadow figure following us. Yes,
right.
And every time I turned to try and capture it, it wasn't there. But I could see it. I sensed it, and I could see it out the corner of my eye. But because as you're coming back on the trail, the one part of the trail from the river, it's almost like a big curve in the wooded area, and then it comes back out to the open prairie land. So as you're walking along, you're kind of curving back towards, and I just kept seeing movement and a shadowy figure, and I was sensing that there was a presence there. But every time, I'd even be walking with the camera and just kind of peek the camera around my shoulder without ever turning, just kind of peek it around, trying to capture whatever's there. And I never caught anything.
Yeah. I mean, me and Mark's been walking, and even Barb, when she's with us, we've been through some cemeteries that we see shadows from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Mark and Barb has all come to the conclusion sometimes those shadows are the guardians of the graves, I think, because of certain people that are around. And they seem to linger. The one place we were at, a lot of them lingered around the kids area, like they were protecting the kids.
We had growling at a cemetery.
Yeah, then there was dogs we saw because there was a pet cemetery.
We didn't see the dog. We heard growling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I can't remember where that was now.
That was Eagle Road Cemetery.
Eagle Road Cemetery.
Now, Decatur,
Second
we
time.
heard a growling. Remember that? In the gunshots, we smelled the. I smelled the
Mm-hmm.
powder.
That's a weird place. Eagle Road Cemetery.
Ooh.
That's a weird cemetery. Very small, secluded, out in the middle of nowhere. And we had the couple of times we were there, we had strange shit happen.
Well, Springdale Cemetery in Peoria, Illinois. That's where we've been, and it's like one of the most haunted cemeteries there is in Illinois.
Yeah, I don't like how they say that, but you know, how do they know it's the most haunted? There could be one.
Exactly.
You know, they say that about Forest Hill Cemetery in Madison. You know, it's the most haunted cemetery in Madison.
You don't get
most
nothing.
haunted cemetery in Wisconsin. It's actually on a list as the top 10 most haunted cemetery in Wisconsin.
Wasn't it the one in Washington we were at that we got kicked out of, right?
Yeah, it was. It
Yeah.
was. It was.
That one, I think that's the one we've had the most activity and the strangest things when we had some of the junior ones we were training at the time.
Yes.
Because they've gotten scratched and we were hearing dogs howling and there was no dogs around and they were whimpering and crying.
That's
And
the
we
middle
kept
of
seeing
the city.
shadows from all over the place. And we as a team all split up. There's like 3 different groups of us and we all divided up and went our separate ways. And the one that I was with, she was actually getting choked that night. And I had to take some selenite out and cut whatever was bothering her away. And that's, like I said, we were hearing dogs whimper, and there was no dogs even in the location. I'd still like to go back there, but, you know, try to figure out where the dogs were whimpering from because they were coming from the direction that we were going, but there wasn't nothing there. There was just a bunch of grays, but it was a bunch of dogs just sitting there whimpering. No dog pound around, no dogs. And you didn't hear them howling. No reply back from other dogs barking or anything, but they were just like a bunch of dogs crying.
And then we heard
Whimpering.
and then there was also sounded like children playing or something.
See, that's why I want to go to Illinois. There's so much
Alton,
that I've
Illinois.
heard about Illinois. So many stories I've heard from guests or just friends that I've met through the paranormal world that have lived down there. And it's like, man, you got some interesting places. But, I grew up in Wisconsin and, I had no idea how weird this place was either. You know, you got a place called the Devil's Punch Bowl, for Christ's sake. And there's supposed to be gnomes and fairies there. You know.
I hate gnomes.
Yeah, it's supposedly a portal to the Pharaoh.
And then we got our own Loch Ness monster, and Lake Pepin on the Mississippi River. You know, I want to go out there yet.
There's a place that I'd like to go to, and there's a place I'd like to go to, and Mark's mentioned this before. There's a place called the 13 Gates of Hell.
Oh yeah,
I want to go there.
Oh man,
me too. I've already been kicked out of hell. So
they've got some very, very bizarre stuff that goes on there. They've got like people that hear cars traveling and all sorts of stuff. You turn around and there's nothing there, and they say each part where that at is some type of a portal, is what they say. Yeah. And I'd really like to go there and check that out one time.
Yeah, there's
a lot of places.
Yeah.
But you know what we'll do? We get there, we'll just, like the police will send the K9 in first. We send Barbie.
All right.
My first stop, though, when I go to Illinois, this one of these trips, my first stop when I go to Illinois is Aurora, Illinois. That's my first stop. I gotta find a sign there. You know, the population sign that says that you're in Aurora, Illinois. I gotta find that sign so I can get a picture.
Okay.
You know,
I'm gonna jump off here real quick.
You know why? You know why that's from? one of the greatest movies of all time. I could go down and get my picture taken there. I'll show you.
Oh, Blues Brothers.
No,
No.
Wayne's World.
Oh, Wayne's World.
Yeah, but this is an official from the studio, Pat.
Cool.
That was official from the studio. Yeah, no, but I gotta find a dispensary. Illinois is legal. Illinois is legal, and they're carrying the Blues Brothers brand in one of the dispensaries now from the Belushi farm.
Really?
Yeah, Jim Belushi, John's brother, Jim Belushi, owns a farm in Washington State, or is it Oregon State? One of those two. Anyway, he owns a farm where he grows marijuana. And his partner is none other than Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, wow.
So, and Dan Aykroyd says, I'm going to send you on a mission from God. So he sent him to Colombia to look for 3 rare seeds that were worthy enough to have the Blues Brothers label on them. So, I've been watching this on TV. It's a series.
Growing Belushi.
Cool.
Yeah, called Growing Belushi. And he is expanding to all the legal states. And the first state, because by the way, Jim Belushi and his headquarters is located in Chicago, Illinois. He has a penthouse there somewhere.
So it's got to be somewhere in Chicago then.
Yeah, it's in Chicago.
Yeah, the dispensary and stuff, because I didn't hear that. I don't know if all of them do or not.
He started with he's working with one of the dispensaries there, and he's got them with the Blues Brothers label. His corporate headquarters is there, and it's run by anyway, somebody I think it's Hefner's daughter, one of Hefner's daughters, or something like that, or Hugh Hefner's sister or something. She's like the CEO in charge at the corporate office. So he stays in the penthouse. He got locked out on his balcony, of his thing, because he went out there to smoke. He got locked out. Neighbor called the cops, and he's on the fire escape, so that he can't get back in. So he has to climb down the fire escape. He gets to the bathroom, and the cops are like, "Can I have your autograph? Take a picture."
Oh, Lord.
All right, guys. I'm sorry, but I need to get going.
Okay.
I gotta be up at 7:00 in the morning and go to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I see it's getting up close to 9 o'clock now. So.
Oh, good.
All right. All right. Well,
Time
everybody, thanks for watching. Joe, Mark, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
And, everybody out there, just be nice to each other. There's enough hatred in the world. We don't need any more. Be kind to everybody. Try to help people out. Be safe. Yep, I agree. So from Enlightened Souls Paranormal, Wolfpack Podcast, I'm Mark.
And I'm
I'm
Sean.
Barb.
And we see you later next week.
Yep.